Hello and welcome. I'm Bio, and today I'm talking about something annoying. Something really, really annoying. An annoying little thing, little entity that existed back in the day. And that's Crazy Frog. Who remembers Crazy Frog? I do, unfortunately. But a lot of people, I feel like, also remember Crazy Frog. But I bet there's a lot of people out there that don't realize that Crazy Frog had a video game series. And I mean a series, not just a one-off game. Multiple games, right? 3 games, to be exact. But you could actually argue saying that the Game Boy Advance version of Crazy Frog Racer is its own thing. So, let's start off. You have Crazy Frog Racer, which came out in 2005 for PC, PlayStation 2, Game Boy Advance, and DS. You have Crazy Frog Arcade Racer, also known as Crazy Frog Racer 2, which came out a year later for the PlayStation 2 exclusively. Or so it says on Game FAQs. I know for a fact it's also on PC, so you can get it on PC if you want. I did have a copy of it on PC back a while ago, but I think I got rid of it. And then you've got Crazy Frog Collectibles Art School, which only released for the DS in 2008, and it's just literally a small game where you can go and play little mini games and color in portraits of Crazy Frog. And would you believe it that apparently they were going to do another Crazy Frog Collectibles game simply called Faces, which was going to be some kind of puzzle game. Why, I don't know. Why not a Crazy Frog platformer or some other rubbish? I don't know. But today I'm going to be talking about Crazy Frog Racer specifically for the PlayStation 2. I played through the entirety of this game. It's not a very long game. I played through the entire game. And I've got a few things to say about it. Not as much as I usually do, but I have a few things to say about it. But let's go over the usual stuff that I usually go over. So, it's developed by Neko Entertainment. Yes, that Neko Entertainment. So it's the same developers as Kokoto, as the Kokoto series. Also the same developers as Kokoto Kart Racer. So, which is interesting. So you can say that Neko Entertainment does have some experience with making a kart racing video game. And it got published by Digital Jesters. I'm not familiar with Digital Jesters, but they mainly published PC games between 2003 and 2005, according to Game FAQs. So, not really much. I guess they published Silent Line Armored Core in Europe for the PlayStation 2. Cool, sure. But yeah, looking at a lot of stuff, they just mainly sports games, as well as like other random games. So, yeah. Mainly in Europe. They did a few things in America, but mainly in Europe. Just looking at some of these games. So, they're not a very well-known publisher, let's put it that way. And the game came out on December 9th, 2005. Now, the PlayStation 2 version is a European exclusive. The interesting thing is all of the Crazy Frog Racer games, the original Crazy Frog, not number 2, not Arcade Racer, but the original Crazy Frog Racer games were all European exclusive. The PC version, PS2, Game Boy Advance, DS, all of them were European exclusive. Shows also the DS version came out in Australia, but you know, I know if it's going to get a PEGI rating, it's more than likely going to get released in Australia. That's where I've always kind of worked it. Australia doesn't really... They do ban video games, but not as much as, I guess, any other place. I don't know. You know, they do ban a lot of video games, to be honest. But... So yeah, so let's go into Crazy Frog Racer and my experience with the game. I played through all 3 cups, because there is 3. Don't let the game fool you. The game will tell you there's 4 cups in the game. 4 cups in the championship. There's 3. You have the Baby Cup, which is okay. You got the Crazy Cup. And then you've got... I'm trying to remember all of the cups, actually. Oh, you've got the Funny Cup. My mistake. The second cup is the Funny Cup. Then the Crazy Cup. And then the Special Cup. Now, the Special Cup isn't special. The Special Cup is let's take all... Each of these cups has 4 tracks, by the way. 4 races, 4 tracks. Let's take all of the tracks, so that's, what's that, 12 tracks total, and make them all into one cup. So you have to waste an hour of your time playing through all of the tracks again in a separate cup. Yay. For what is, effectively speaking, one unlockable playable character. Because that's all it is. There's only one unlockable playable character in the game, which is a cow called Matilda. Then, you can also unlock, as you do the cups, tracks or arenas for the battle mode, but who are you going to find to play 2-player with this game? No one. That's who. You're not going to find anyone. Let's be honest. So, realistically, there is no real incentive to play through and unlock what there is in the game. By the way, my save file is going to be on GameFAQs if you want to download it. It will be on there with Matilda as unlocked. I played through the entire game on easy because screw me playing through the game on any other difficulty. I was like, I don't want to play any race any more than once. And in all fairness, once I played through Baby Cup and maybe even Funny Cup, the first 2 cups, I could have switched the difficulty to normal if I wanted to, but I was like, nah, I can't be asked. I'd rather just meme on these other races, which is what I did. I instead had more fun getting really far ahead of the races and then just screwing around with the power-ups to see what kind of nonsense I can do. Which is probably one of the only fun aspects of the game, to be completely honest. So there is a few playable characters. I can't remember all of the playable characters' names. There's about 7 playable characters if you include the cow, Matilda. And they're all brand new characters as far as I'm aware that don't really have any point at all in the Crazy Frog universe. You know, I'm not familiar with Crazy Frog lore, but like I looked at these characters and watched some of the old music videos back in the day when I originally played this game on the channel, which was a while ago. And yeah, that, like, besides the robot that chases the annoying thing in his like debut music video, where he goes ring ding 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 ba 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 ba, wee, that noise and annoying noise that he made in the music in that original music video. Pixel F, I think the music video is called. That robot that chases him throughout the entirety of that music video, he's a playable character in the game. Great. Everyone else, never seen them in a single Crazy Frog music video, so who knows what these characters are. You've got like a fairy, you've got 2 like graffiti artists, you've got a chef, you've got a ninja. It's like, who's coming up with these characters? Neko Entertainment? Clearly. I don't know. So, yeah, you got all these weird characters that have no point. I played as the annoying thing throughout the entirety of the championship, all 4 of the cups. Because why would I play a Crazy Frog racing game and not play as Crazy Frog? Exactly. So, and yeah, he controls okay. So I'll go over the controls of a Crazy Frog Racer. X is go. Square brakes. Circle, he makes like a stupid noise. I think it's like a beep. Triangle does the exact same thing. So as far as I'm concerned, circle and triangle doesn't actually do anything. R1 uses power-ups, and L1 and L2 switches between power-ups. Because that's one unique feature about this game, is you collect these coins, these like skull coins, and the more you collect, the higher this meter goes up, which allows you to which shows you on the left-hand side of the screen what power-ups you can use. And there's altogether, what is it, 2, 4, 6, 7 power-ups, 7 playable characters, 7 power-ups. You have like a mine, which is like he just sticks to the ground, so when he goes into it, it explodes. You've got a proximity mine, which is the best thing in the entire game, and what I use to basically get such a far a lead on people. You have like a rocket that just shoots 3 rockets forward. They're not homing or anything like that. Kind of like firing 3 green shells if you compare it to Mario Kart. You then have a shield power-up. Then you have a boost power-up, which is okay, I guess. The shield power-up's, I guess, useful if you not like me and get really far ahead. Then you have this like laser which lasts a long time, which is useful if you're quite far in the back. And then finally you have like the bomb, which throws a bomb far ahead and tries to go for those that are ahead of you. The only power-ups I really used throughout the entire game was the proximity mine. Really good at getting far ahead with that. and the boost power-up. That's literally all I used. If I happened to get behind at any point for whatever reason, I would use the cannon. But generally speaking, I just wouldn't bother, because as long as I held down the X button, I'd get ahead of them anyway. Because my speed, there's no like CCs or anything. It's just max speed. So if you're playing on easy and you're just naturally going really fast, not taking your finger off the, or thumb in this case, off the X button, you're going to get ahead of them all the time. But you got to keep that lead by throwing the proximity mines behind you. And I believe that's pretty much the entirety of the controls, right? There's no like handbrake, it's just square button basically. I thought there'd be another button you could use. R2 does nothing as far as I'm aware. So yeah, there's that. So I'll go over a few other things with the game. So yeah, I've talked about the controls, I've talked about the power-ups, but how does it actually play exactly? Like shit is how it plays. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. This game reminds me of F-Zero, and I know how fucking wild of a statement that is, but it really does. There is elements of the game that could make it an half-decent, not good, but half-decent. So that's like a 4 out of 10. It's not even decent. You think 5 out of 10 is like a decent, 4 out of half-decent F-Zero clone. But it fails miserably because it's an inconsistent game. It's inconsistent in its acceleration, and it's inconsistent with its track design. Now this is where the game suffers like a bitch, like a little fucking bitch. The track design is fucking horrendous. What I've basically seen is Neko Entertainment made this massive ass track and then just sectioned the track off. So each of the individual tracks, it's just one long motorway by the way, so it's based off of Axel F, the music video. But each of these individual tracks are just spliced from this bigger track, and they don't always go well together. So instead of having individually designed tracks, which they would have only had to have done fucking 9 of them anyway, no, 12 of them anyways, 4 per cup, 12 of the tracks anyway. Instead, they did one big track and split it up into smaller tracks for each of the individual tracks. How many times have I said track in this fucking tangent? But the problem is the design and how they all mesh together is fucking horrendous. You'll have a hill, and you'll be basically going pretty fast up the hill, and at the very top of the hill is a turn right. So you got to slow down before you reach the top of the hill. You go flying off the track into fucking out of bounds. And the amount of times that you will be going out of bounds when you first start racing in the game, getting used to the controls, is fucking unreal. It shows how absolutely abysmal the track design is. The controls aren't an issue, because once you get used to how the controls work, it's fine. It's the track design that holds this game back. It is so fucking horrendous, it's unreal. All because they wanted to skimp out and be lazy. And it doesn't help that the areas where they've cut it off, they've segmented it off, they've put these like barriers on that, like where you see the opening into like the track, you just have these barriers. That's all you have. And they're not very visible. So quite often you'll be going, keep in mind that the game will be telling you you're going 200 fucking miles an hour in the game, right? According to the game, which is fast. The game is very fast paced. It's a very fast paced racer. You'll be going pretty fast. And then suddenly you'll be going up a hill, going around the corner, and boom, you'll hit a wall. Because they fucking put these stupid bloody blockades here. Because that's not where the track goes in this particular course. You gotta go a different way. It's stupid. And I really wish they designed individual tracks for this game. It would have improved it so much more. So that's my biggest complaint with the game. So let's talk about the other factor of the gameplay. There is a repair meter in the game as well, where basically if you get hit enough, you'll basically like, you know, get the repair meter down to like 0. It doesn't really do anything in the we'll get out in a minute. Oh, pardon me. In the races, besides slow you down. So the lower your repair meter, which is these little nuts and bolts on the screen, you might see on the screen. So they're in the very bottom but middle of the screen. if that goes too low, it slows you down, which I had it go low when I was playing through the cups, and I didn't really notice, to be honest. On the other hand, I did have a go and playing the game on hard, which is hard, and I did notice it there. So maybe you just don't really notice it much on easy because it doesn't harm you as much, you could say, but I don't know. And there's these little nuts and bolts things that you can collect as you drive around, which repairs that meter, which is great, right? And so you can at least repair the meter. And that's basically the core gameplay of the game. But it has its issues. For example, there's a tunnel in the game. There's two tunnels that are specifically featured in some tracks that are part of the larger track. And if you boost in those in one of those tunnels, it's a purple, what I call the purple tunnel, not the blue tunnel. The blue tunnel is like underwater, and I've never had an issue with that tunnel. But with a purple tunnel, you use the boost power up in that tunnel. Guess what? You will go and you will collide with the ceiling of the tunnel. But guess what? The ceiling has no collision, so you'll go out of bounds into the fucking rock face. And you're like, what? What the fuck? What are you doing? You couldn't even put collision on the top of the fucking tunnel? That's underground? How lazy do you have to be, developers? And that's not all. If you are going up a hill and you're having a big drop on one of the tracks, I remember having this massive, massive drop, boosted up. I was really far ahead in a race. I boosted up the hill, went launching over the hill, but actually managed to aim myself back onto the track, right? Just for me to fall through the track and go out of bounds. And I'm like, but it's the track. But sometimes, if I do the exact same other thing, guess what? I land on the track. Why do I land on the track sometimes, but not on other times? How inconsistent can you be? So once again, sorry about that. They're going into a completely different accent there. I'm quite passionate about how this game could actually be decent. It could actually be half decent as a racing game. All because Neko Entertainment decided to fuck up the track design so badly, it makes it a horrible game to play. Luckily, it only takes you about 2 hours and a half to play through the entire game, so that's not too bad. But because this Cup 1's about half an hour, Cup 2's about half an hour, Cup 3's about half an hour, so that's an hour and a half already. And then Cup 4, Special Cup's an hour to get through, so there you go. And it takes about an hour to get through, thereabouts. So you're looking at about 2.5 hours, maybe a little bit longer. And it just annoys me that it's like, yeah, half decent, but they screwed it up by the track design. It's just so annoying. So that's pretty much most of the gameplay. I'll go through the other things. You have single race, which is a single race. You have time trials, which serve no purpose because there's not actually a time trial you're given to work towards. You basically race a track with no obstacles, no power-ups, no nothing, and you're by yourself. And the time you get at the end just gets saved to your profile. What you know, what, like, give me something to work towards, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. And then there's the chase mode, which is inspired by the Axel F music video, where you gotta escape a bunch of robots. Didn't really like that. I only played it once. Didn't really like that mode very much, personally, because the robots have got infinite power-ups. They don't work on the same rules you do, so they can just keep firing missiles at you, which is really annoying. And yet they can still use power-ups as well, from what I understand. So they always have missiles, and they can just use the power-ups that you can use as well, which is great. Unfair advantage straight off the bat. At least from what I experienced playing the chase mode, because literally started the race, no one's got any coins yet to use any power-ups, and they're already firing missiles at me. How the fuck does that work? So... And then there's a two-player mode, which I haven't played any of. I'm going to try and see if I might be able to convince a friend to play with remote play together through Steam on PCSX2. Might be able to get it working. But it's, I believe, from what I read, the battle mode is just you're in an arena, you use the same power-ups, I think, that you have. Again, I haven't played it, so I can't really comment on it that much. And instead, the repair meter is basically used as your health, which is the same as chase mode. In chase mode, once the repair meter's gone to 0, that's it, game over. So, and you basically get told how many meters you manage to go with the chase mode. And that's the same with the battle mode. You basically use the repair meter as your health. And that's the entire game. You have a jukebox. The music you hear in the background is the music from the game. None of it, as far as I'm concerned, is copyrighted. It's just music they've made for the game that's inspired by by Crazy Frog's music. So that's not the same for the second game, though, by the way, which does use copyrighted music. And the music's just kind of there. It's not good, but it's not terrible. It's just there. You won't really notice it half the time when you're racing, at least in my opinion. So, yeah, and that's Crazy Frog Racer. It's a game that's just kind of there, to be completely honest. You know, it's a game that, number one, no one asked for. Number two, no one wanted. Number three, just to jump on the hype train of, I guess, the popularity of Crazy Frog, which, as far as I remember, wasn't Crazy Frog popular in like 2002, 2003, when smart flip phones were coming out and those stupid little fucking downloadable bullshit that you could get from magazines that cost like an arm and a leg that I never did. Who would want to pay for that? It was one of those things. You could download the video by paying a service and it's on your phone and look, it makes like ding 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 noise. Look at that. How fucking annoying. So I remember seeing it in school when I was in like year 8, I think, in school. So that's when I was like, I don't know, 11, 12. So I swear that's like 2002, 2003. I swear Crazy Frog was dead by 2005. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it came out in 2005. I honestly don't know. Maybe I should look that up. Maybe that's something I should look up. When did Crazy Frog come out? And I can grace you with this great knowledge. 2003. I fucking called it. I called it. 2003 is when I remember seeing Crazy Frog, right? And he was active from 2003 to 2009. It really, really, really did do that. That's crazy. Apparently, I'm just reading here, a new album was announced later that same day on April 2020. On 10th of December 2021, a new single, Tricky, was released after a 12-year hiatus. Interesting. Crazy. Interesting. But I swear they announced that they were going to do a film at some point or some bullshit. But yeah, there you go. So Crazy Frog, it must have been still popular in 2005 to warrant there to be a video game. But who bought the game? That's what I really want to know. Who cares? Who cares about Crazy Frog nowadays? No one. But hell, hey, but I'll play it. I'll play this stupid Crazy Frog racing game. And I'll tell you, it's absolute bonkers. It's a bonkers video game. It's just insane how it plays. The fact that it exists, it just blows my mind. It really does. But what would I say about Crazy Frog Racer in terms of recommendations? I'd recommend trying the game. If you're a fan of racing games, kart racing games, it ain't gonna do you no harm trying the game. It's not like a Phoenix game, Data Design Interactive racing game. There is actually some thought and effort put into it in comparison to those games. But unfortunately, it just fails solely because of the track design. And you'll play it, if you just play one race, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The very first race in Baby Cup, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So all I would say is just try the game. That's it. Just try the game. Don't play through to the end like I did. It's not worth it. But anyway, I'm going to call it there. I've been Bio. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I don't know if I'll be playing through Crazy Frog Racer 2. We'll just wait and see. I might throw a little segment at the end of this video talking about Crazy Frog Racer 2, whether I played through the entire game or just want to talk about my experience revisiting the game. Anyway, bye-bye. Well. I did say, didn't I? I said, hey, am I going to talk about Crazy Frog Racer 2? Well, yes, I am going to be talking about Crazy Frog Racer 2. Because guess what? I did play through the entirety of Crazy Frog Racer 2. And all in all, it was a worse experience. I'm not even joking. So I'm going to go over a little bit about Crazy Frog Racer 2, as we've just talked about Crazy Frog Racer, so I think it's only right for me to talk about it now. The only facet I'm not going to talk about with Crazy Frog Racer 2 is exactly the same facet with Crazy Frog Racer 1. which is also known as anyway, Crazy Frog Racer 1, which is the battle gameplay, because I don't have a friend who would be willing to play this with me. Let's be honest, who would want to play this with anyone? No one. I struggle to play it myself, by myself. So yeah. So let's go over the usual information that I always go over, shall I? With a game. Is obviously I'm talking about Crazy Frog Racer 2 now, also known as Crazy Frog Arcade Racer, which is still developed by Neko Entertainment. This time around it's published by Valcon Games, or Turtle Games as I think it's called. It is in Europe as it came up on the screen. I'm playing through the European version because the European version is called Crazy Frog Racer 2. So, and it got released in September 6, 2007, at least in America. It came out in Europe in December 2006. December 1st, I think, 2006. It says also in Europe it was published by Mercury Games. Didn't see anything for Mercury Games. I saw something for Turtle Games, though, so I don't know. But let's go into it, shall we? Let's go into Crazy Frog Racer 2. Now, the music you're hearing in the background is the OST of the first Crazy Frog Racer game, and you're going to hear that because guess what the OST is for Crazy Frog Arcade Racer, Crazy Frog Racer 2? It's all copyrighted Crazy Frog music, so great, fantastic, you managed to actually license the music from the property that you're licensing, which I always found a bit weird how they couldn't get the music in there. At least they could have done is get Axel F or something. But no, in this game, every single track has a unique Crazy Frog song. So, Popcorn, Cocoa Banana, I don't know, We Are the Champions. I think it's We Are the Champions is in here. Final Countdown, the Crazy Frog remix. Oh yeah, they're all in here. They're, every single track has a unique Crazy Frog song attached to it. And that's going to make all of my footage of me playing through the entirety of this game, uploaded on Biotex, completely and utterly copyright claimed all over the place, more than likely. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? Not that it's monetized or anything. Any of my channels are monetized, matter of fact. None of them are. So it doesn't really matter. Still a bit annoying, though, either way. So, as I said, the music is Crazy Frog music. You either love it or you hate it. So, or you just don't care, like me. I just don't care. The only one I kind of like, I can listen to and be like, maybe just like Axel F, because that's more of just nostalgia than anything else. So let's go into the gameplay, shall we? I'm going to try and keep this a bit more brief, as, again, the game is pretty much a carbon copy of the first game, but worse. And I'm going to get into the reason why worse. So first we have the first aspect of the game, is, number one, this UI looks disgusting. Like, I didn't even comment on the UI in the first game because I didn't see the point. It was just there, and I don't really like shitting on a UI in a video game unless it's like really gaudy and taking up an unnecessary amount of the screen. But in Crazy Frog Racer, it was absolutely fine. In Crazy Frog Racer 2, it looks just so budgeted, it's unreal. So budgeted and just bad. But, maybe it's just me, but that's how I feel towards the UI that you see on the screen as you're racing. The menus are about the same, to be honest. I can't really... The menus are fine in the game. They serve a purpose. Every single control is exactly the same in the game, with one exception. You can't scroll and pick your power-ups anymore. Guess what? You know that cool little feature that was a cool little feature in the first game, that you collect the skull coins, and the more skull coins that you collect, the better power-up that you can get, even though the best power-up in the game was the proximity mine. Well, the proximity mine isn't even in the game. They've removed most of the power-ups and replaced them with different power-ups that are worse, like honestly worse power-ups. And now the power-ups are like any other kart racing video game. They are just little tokens on the track. Collect it and it does a little and just picks power-up for you to use. Great. Fantastic. One of the cool aspects of your video game you've taken out for the sole purpose of making it like every other fucking kart racing game. Thank you, Neko Entertainment. And like I said, the power-ups are worse. You have these, like... I'll give you an example, right? So you still have the mine. You know, the little spiky mine? Not the proximity mine, which was a great one. The normal spiky mine. That's still in the game. Then you have, like, this magnet thing that if you go over it, it slows you down. You also have the shield. The shield is still there. But you also have... I'm trying to remember all of them. The rockets are still there. The 3 rockets in a row. The big bomb is still there. The boost is still there. So... all the kind of like normal classic weapons from the first game are there. But then you have, like I said, you have the magnet. You have this little like lightning symbol that does this little lightning thing come out the back of your... I don't even know what it does. Is it supposed to harm someone that's directly behind me? Or is it supposed to give me a tiny little boost? I honestly don't know. Because every time I got it, I was so far ahead in first, I didn't even have a chance to find out if it actually did anything. So there's that. And there was one other power-up as well, which was just really, really terrible. Oh, the gas. Yeah. There's a little gas power-up that, I don't know, Crazy Frog farts or something, and the gas cloud appears behind him, and yeah. Like a banana or an oil slick in a video game. Banana from Mario Kart. So, I'm like, oh great, so you take away my ability to pick any power-up. Then you replace it with terrible power-ups. There's also another one which is basically it's the same as like having 3 green shells that circle around you, but you can't fire them off. You can't do anything with them. They're just kind of there. And how often did I get that while in first place? A hell of a lot. Does it serve a purpose while in first place? Hell no. It's not like I could fire them backwards. They were just there. And I was like, oh great, so they're just going to stay here for a little while until they fade away, because you don't keep them forever like you do in Mario Kart. And I can't do anything with them because I'm so far ahead of everyone else, it doesn't matter anyway. Just so you know, I played through the championship mode on normal difficulty this time instead of easy, because considering how easy actually was, I figured, I'll play through normal. I'm not playing through hard because I don't want to have to fail any of the races and having to repeat anything in the video game, because it'll put me off of probably playing the video game. So yeah, so great, the power-ups are worse, collectively. That's a cool feature. Also, just to let you know, there's still bugs and shit in the game. I forgot to mention there is a few little bugs here and there in the previous game, where for some reason, I just suddenly out of nowhere, after getting hit by a power-up a certain way, I could no longer steer. And once I got hit by another power-up, then it fixed the steering. Guess what? That same exact thing happened in number 2. I got hit by a power-up while in midair, landed, and then my car, or dinghy in this case, because I played through the championship mode as Crazy Frog in his little holiday outfit in a dinghy, a little rubber like life preserver thing. I don't know what the hell it is. No, it's a dinghy. Yeah, it's a tiny little inflatable dinghy thing, little rubber ring that you'd see at the water park. And yeah, you just kind of like, you wouldn't move, wouldn't do anything, couldn't accelerate, couldn't do anything. It was great. I was like, oh great. And then I got hit by another power-up and it fixed it. So there's still bugs in the game. But that's the only time I actually featured a bug. So the power-ups are worse, collectively. That means they've got to have fixed the tracks, right? Oh, hell no. Of course they didn't fix the tracks. They made the tracks worse. I'm not even fucking shitting you. They made the tracks worse. Somehow. And they fixed it. That's the really concerning thing in the game. They fixed the tracks. No longer are you suffering through a one long track that has all these different ways you can go, and they've sliced and diced that track into separate little track. I don't know. How do I word this without using track all the time as the word to describe? So they had a course, a long motorway in the first game, right, that had branching paths. They took that and they split it up into separate little tracks that you could drive on. And because of that, the design of the track was horrendous. In the second game, They fixed this by having specifically designed tracks for every single track, instead of it being a splice and dice job. Now, don't get me wrong, they've reused track design from the previous game. They have, in places, I noticed, but for the most part, it seems like they're completely new tracks and they're not a slice and dice job. They're all individually created for each track. Fantastic. They're still designed poorly for the level of speed that you're going at in this game. Keep in mind that you're going at 300 kilometers an hour. There's a reason why I compared this to F-Zero, mainly because of the speed aspect of the game, just how it feels. Now, F-Zero is much better game than this, hell of a lot of better game than this. But F-Zero has a sense of speed that you don't have in too many other racing games, and I would honestly say that this game achieves that level of speed to some degree, but fails miserably because of the track design. And it's such a shame that in the second game they've still failed with the track design by fixing the issue in the previous game, but replacing that issue with even worse track design. It's like if they were making tracks for the Kokoto Kart Racer, because keep in mind the Kokoto series is developed by Neko Entertainment. We're not playing Kokoto Kart Racer here in Neko Entertainment. We're playing Crazy Frog Racer, where you're going 300 kilometers an hour, going insane speeds, and yet they still thought it was a great idea to, at the very top of a hill, have a direct 90-degree left turn. Fuck you, Neko Entertainment, you stupid retards that don't know how to do. Like, I could make better tracks in my fucking sleep. I'm not even shitting you, right? I remember playing a game when I was younger that allowed you to create tracks in the racing game, and I could do a better job than what you did in this fucking video game. What happened? From what I can gather is you just fundamentally misunderstood exactly the kind of game that Crazy Frog Racer is, and you just made tracks that are just generic and just would fit any kind of racing game. At least that's how it feels to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but again, it's just not good track design at all. It's just crazy to me how they could fuck this up even further. And there's some like standout tracks. I'm very tempted to do a video on the channel where I do a tier list of all of the tracks across both Crazy Frog Racing games. I'm not shitting you. I'm very tempted, very fucking tempted. No one will watch it. I know no one will watch the video, but I'm very fucking tempted because of how absolutely fucking terrible these tracks really are. The worst cup to play was the final beach cup. At least they didn't do that stupid shit in the first game where the special cup, the final cup in the game, was just the first 3 cups again. Yeah, and you have to play them in a row. That was very annoying, having to do effectively 12 tracks in a row. This game, each of the cups has 3 tracks, 1 less than standard. So it's a much more easier experience overall. So you have... What's that? Yeah, you still have 12 tracks total. Okay. Yeah, okay, so no, my mistake. The first game did have 3 tracks per cup, I guess then. It's 12 tracks. Yeah, 12 tracks and then 12 tracks in this game. But they're all individual instead of just skimping out on the final one. And they're all themed after the Crazy Frog videos. The first cup is called the Football Cup, which is obviously from the We Are the Champions, music video. You have the Ice Cup, which I think he did like a cover of like a Swedish song, I think, the Yorile song, I think. Then you have the City Cup, which is based off of Axel F and so on and so forth, and that's where you see most of the reused tracks from the first game in that cup. Then finally you have the Beach Cup, which is obviously based off of Popcorn and what's the Cocoa Banana and stuff like the songs like that. So now, in terms of playable characters, you have pretty much the same playable characters as the first game, with a few exceptions here and there. Those exceptions mainly being, there's no, you know, the Matilda, the unlockable cow from the character from the first game. They're no longer in this game, even though the intro to this game, the intro to Crazy Frog Racer 2 and Arcade Racer, also known as Arcade Racer, is exactly the same intro as the first game. Exactly the same. So, in that intro, you'll see Matilda the cow run along. But then you realize that they're not playable in the game for whatever reason. They're the only character, from what I can tell, that's not playable in this game that is playable in the first game. Instead, they've now added a bunch of extra characters, but all of them are robots from, I believe, the Popcorn music video. So you've got like 3 new playable robots. You've got obviously an alternate playable Crazy Frog with his holiday outfit on, and then that's it. That's literally it. So altogether, there's what, 12 racers that you can pick from in this game, compared to what was it, 7 in the first game. So they're really stretching with those characters, though. I love how they had to create characters that don't even appear because there was no characters they could work off of, at least from my understanding. Or maybe they did appear in a music video. I don't know. I'm not a Crazy Frog lore expert. But yeah, there's one more thing I'll mention before I close this video. There is a new addition in the game. There's still the time trials, which is exactly the same. There's still the chase gameplay, which is exactly the same, which is quite funny because some of these tracks are just not designed for it very clearly. The amount of times I just saw the robots just fly off of the track, like, what, for some odd reason, I don't know, they just did. But they have this mini game mode where you have 2 new mini games. 2 new mini games. There was no mini games in the first game. One is called Frog Dance, which is literally playing copyrighted Crazy Frog music while playing a very, very simplified button pressing with the time DDR kind of style mini game. You know, where the buttons appear on screen, you got to press them in time with the music, within time with how they appear on the screen, and so on and so forth. Which was just kind of there. And then there was Froggy Pinball, which was literally Crazy Frog and a little ball going around a pinball table, destroying robots. Not pinball in the traditional sense either, which was just kind of like, yeah, it was okay, I guess. It was much more enjoyable than the frog dance, but still, again, another minigame that's just kind of there. Don't even know why they included it. And that's Crazy Frog Racer 2. Objectively a worse racing game compared to the first game, for all the wrong reasons, which is such a shame. But it is what it is. Now, I'm going to give my final 2 cents on whether or not you should play this or not. I'm going to say that you should try the first Crazy Frog Racer game just to see what the racing is like in the game. But with Crazy Frog Racer 2, I would honestly say just don't bother. Just don't bother. And that's my final verdict with the games. But I'm going to call it there. I hope you've enjoyed me talking about both of the Crazy Frog Racer video games. But I'm going to call it there. I've been Bio. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.